What's going on, guys? This is Bruce Matson, your host of the show, Metric Scout Fantasy Football, the show that talks about all things fantasy from redraft, dynasty, derby, all the way to campus Canton and best ball, all that stuff. Something you're interested in, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, tell your homies. But in this video, we're going to be talking about a draft strategy. It's not even really a strategy. It's like a do and don't process. When we get into rookie drafts, once this NFL draft is over, things are going to change when it comes to rankings. And for some people, it's going to be more manipulative than others. And it's going to be due to landing spot. And it's a trick bag for some people, because we'll get this lesser player fall to this grandioso situation, and they'll get a big bump in ADP, and then they'll fall on their face. And what is really this is account for is many drafters taking situation and weighing that heavier over talent. Like some people were drafting Keyshawn Vaughn over some of the now top wide receivers. Some people were bumping up Bishop Sankey because he was the lone running back with production who appeared to be the RB1 for the Titans when he got drafted, but they were drafting him over guys like Mike Evans, Brandon Cooks, Odell Beckham Jr., and we see this almost every year. Some years not, but almost every year due to position, due to landing spot, due to draft capital, player or two getting moved up ADP draft boards and dynasty rookie drafts where a month prior they didn't have a place to be there. And the reason why they didn't have a place there in January, February, March, April, early April before the draft is because they didn't have the talent. And the consensus, the majority saw that, and they valued them as that. They value them as third, fourth round, late second round, rookie draft option. Now they get overdrafted, they land in this situation, and average draft position peaks. This is a trick bag. This is something you want to pivot away from, and you want to stay real to your evaluations. And the only thing I would suggest changing is just playing the ADP game, what I call it. So say I like Rashad Bateman. I have him as, I forget where I have him overall. Let's say I have him as overall 5, 4, whatever. And in the draft he falls, and he gets drafted 4th round. Let's say he falls to the 4th round. We're just hypothetical. I'm not really projecting anything. He falls to the 4th round. His average draft position in Dynasty falls to early 3rd. Say he falls to that. Well, I see that. I see that's the trend. That's where he's on average falling to. But I want to make sure I get him. I'm going to spend in mid-second. I'm going to spend in 203, 204 on him. I'm going to make sure I get him on my team. Because at some point, you're just going to have to draft your guys. And at some point, you're drafting talent over situation. So that's really how I use draft and draft capital to change my approach. However, on the other spectrum, when I see a guy shoot up the draft board, a guy that could shoot up could be Trey Sermon. He could land in one of these grandiose spots, like say he lands in Pittsburgh, is projected to be the lead back there. You could see his value shoot up, and it could be astronomical. All it takes is the wrong person to send the wrong tweet, and some retweets happen of that, and next thing you know, he's getting drafted way higher than he should be. And you just need to find these pitfalls and value them correctly or avoid them altogether, and stay true to your valuations going into the draft. Just because the NFL overdrafts a player doesn't mean that player is the right fit for fantasy. You need to stay true to how you had these players rated and just manipulate the draft board from there. Just because a player looks like they're in a good situation doesn't mean they'll get the job. Always draft talent over need. Always draft talent over situation. Never pedestal a player because you need that position. So if I need a running back, I'm not going to bump up the running back's value or these talented receivers just because I need to fill that void. That's an easy way to fall on your face in rookie drafts. Another easy way to fall on your face in rookie drafts is following the pumped up players due to draft capital. There's a reason why they weren't heavily touted going into the draft, and since they got overdrafted, it doesn't change anything. It just means they have more draft capital. That's the only thing in their scope that really changed. However, if a player drops and you still like them, you can still draft them, but you want to just try and draft them at a cheaper price than what you're planning on drafting at a month prior. That's all that tells you. Follow your evaluation going into the draft. Do not let draft capital, do not let the bumps in ADP or the increase in value in ADP manipulate where you're drafting players, because that's really going to put you in a trick bag. You don't want to be drafting lesser talented running backs at the 110 and letting talented wide receivers slip in the mid-second round. A lot of people were doing that last year. Justin Jefferson slipping, T. Higgins slipping, when these guys got talented profiles, and letting them fall in the draft. There's just been some drafts where people were pumping up running backs, or this speedy wide receiver landed in this great situation, or whatever else, and really manipulating ADP because that player went to the right spot, but evidently their talent wasn't right to play in the NFL because they weren't able to win the job to be fantasy relevant. That is something you just gotta stay true to. Stay true to your evaluation. Do not get it swayed just because this guy got selected in the second round, third round. Just gotta rely on what you see on tape, and you gotta rely on the metrics that you've been using. I want to thank you for watching the show. Thank you for sticking with me through draft season. Soon the NFL draft will be here, and we'll be ready to rock and roll. Hit that subscribe button, ring the bell, tell your homies, and I'll catch you next.